What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. It's been a long week. First week of a real job, Jimmy. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Anyway, yeah, maybe. Anyways, got a lot going on. We've gotten kind of to the point of free agency now. Not a whole week in, but we're getting to the first weekend of free agency here, and it's kind of it's down to the bargain bin shopping essentially. Besides some guys that are out there still that are taking their time going through the process and whatnot. Aaron Rodgers, one of those guys, but yeah, not going to be many big deals from here on out. By the way, our boys are playing right now, so it's a good game. I just turned it on. 35-35, almost halftime. Marquette, let's go, boys. Got to beat the number 1 seed in the Big East. Yeah, let's get to it. We had some trades. Start off here. Yeah, there wasn't any college or UFL news, so let's start off with the trades. 3 more trades went down, low-level draft compensation, but the Cowboys doing a pair of them. First off was former first-round corner Kyer Elam from the Bills, along with a 25 6th rounder, 25 5th, and a 26 7th. Go back to Buffalo. I mean, I like it. It's never know, change of scenery, how that works out for a guy. And then from the Bills, I thought it was pretty solid compensation back for a sunk cost in a first-round pick.
Yeah. Dallas seems to have this love of getting former first-round picks. We could talk about that in the next trade, a little spoiler alert for our audience. But Jerry seems to like the idea that anyone drafted in the first round must have some really good upside, and maybe their system can unlock it. He's had success in the past before, but he's also seen a ton of failure with that logic before. It's with Elam, we know his weakness. He is undersized. He's not super fast. He's not great in coverage. But, like I just said, Jerry Jones believes in the first-round pedigree. He believes guys are drafted in the first round for a reason, and he thinks he can unlock it in his system. So who knows?
Yeah, for sure. I'm okay with it. If they want to play these crap players in Dallas, it's cool with me. Anyways, by the way, first half just ended. Golden Eagles up by 2 at halftime.
Let's go. Back-to-back conference champs. Let's go.
Over the Johnnies. St. John's. All right, let's go to the other Cowboys one, the one you hinted at. Linebacker Kenneth Murray, former first-round pick of the Chargers. 25 7th rounder, coming from Tennessee, where he spent his 24 season, with 25 6th going back to Tennessee. This one I like more for Dallas than I did the Elam trade. Tennessee, it's still kind of, I think, befuddled. Still don't know what to think of what Tennessee is doing. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the Titans. Coach Callahan there, going into year 2 with the number 1 pick. But Dallas had made sense. They had linebacker needs for sure. They got Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn. See, and now they're screwing me up on our lads' depth charts, Jimmy, because it used to be that the yellow/gold on our lads was free agents, guys that are going to be free agents. Or as we got closer, they were free agents. Now it's orange or gold, whatever you want to call it. It looks orange to me, but they call it gold. Are guys that they got in free agency. So totally screwing me up in our lads. Just wanted to make that clear. But made a ton of sense for Dallas when you look at what they got. DeMarvion Overshown showing is injured still. But Damone Clark, a 22 fifth rounder, and Maurice Luafau, who played really well as a third rounder last year. Those were really the only guys they had at off-ball linebacker. Like I said, they signed Jack Sanborn from Chicago, traded for Kenneth Murray. So they needed depth regardless. And they definitely got that with Kenneth Murray. Can play the third linebacker position in a traditional 4-3. Can give you some snaps in sub packages potentially as well. But again, Tennessee, I don't know. I don't know what the vision is for Mike Borgonzi. They've made a bunch of questionable moves, and linebacker-wise inside, they did sign Cody Barton. They have Otis Reese, who they really like, college free agent in 2023. They drafted Cedric Gray last year in the 4th round and James Williams in the 7th round. So I guess they like their young guys, bringing the veteran Cody Barton as well. So let's go to your Vikings, Jimmy. The Vikings sending a guard Ed Ingram to the Texans for a 26th round pick there. And yeah, we talked about this last show when we did the Texans Rams mock draft, and we were like, dude, like, what are the Texans doing? They just lost 3 offensive linemen, and so now it makes a ton of sense. They get Ed Ingram to fill in some of the depth they needed inside at guard. They got Laken Tomlinson from the Seahawks. But I would not be shocked if that's a position battle, Ingram versus Tomlinson, or Ingram versus Juice Scruggs, who they like a lot going into year 3, my Penn State boy there. But, yeah, nonetheless, I think it was solid value for a guy the Vikings were probably going to let go anyways. Of course, Jimmy can probably tell you more on Ed Ingram than I can, but yeah, I think it's solid, low-cost move for Houston after the exodus of offensive linemen that they had earlier this week. All right, let's go to NFL news here. We'll get Jimmy's thoughts on the Ingram trade in a second. But Chiefs making room for cap space, the guys that they brought in essentially before the new year, league new year started there on Tuesday. But they restructured quarterback Patrick Mahomes and defense tackle Chris Jones, $49.446 million in cap space saved. Just ridiculous money that they got off of that. And like I said, needed that money to essentially sign most of their free agents in the draft class this offseason. Steelers, new wide receiver DK Metcalf. He will be wearing number 4 with Pittsburgh. He'll be there for the foreseeable future with the new 5-year, $150 million deal that he signed after the trade. So, number 4 going forward for DK in Pittsburgh there. Of course, George Pickens, the incumbent number 14 in the black and gold. A couple suspensions handed down. The Bills Bills new faces getting suspended. Edge rusher Michael Hoyt coming over from the Rams. Defense tackle Larry Ogunjobi coming over from the Steelers. Both suspended 6 games for PEDs. GM Brandon Beane announcing that today. They said they knew about Hoyt's suspension when they signed him. They did not know, however, about Ogunjobi's until after they had already agreed to terms. The contract has not been signed, I've heard, but they will want him to sign it soon because, as Mr. Bean mentioned, the D-tackle and the market has kind of thinned out now, so they really couldn't go and pivot elsewhere once they found out about Ogunjobi's upcoming suspension this year. So 2 players that they in their free agent class, especially on defense, where they needed the pass rush help out the first 6 weeks of the season. Couple releases. The Titans, they released guard Sadiq Charles. He is coming out of retirement. That is why they released him. So the Rams, they released wide receiver Cooper Kupp, post June 1 cut, $14.78 million dead money in 2025, $7.48 million dead money in 2026, $15 million cap savings there for LA though. So Cooper Kupp, just a ridiculous career with the LA Rams. 634 receptions, 7,776 yards, 57 touchdowns. Super Bowl 56 MVP, Super Bowl 56 champ, obviously. NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 2021. Most yards by a wide receiver in a season in NFL history, 1,965. And the most catches by a receiver in a single postseason with 33. So Cooper Kupp, one of the all-time greats, and definitely deserves to be in the I think in the Rams Hall of Fame for sure. The Jets, they released their leader on defense, linebacker CJ Mosley. So veteran guy available, and he said he wants to play still, I believe. And the Vikings, they are going to they traded Ed Ingram. They are going to release another guy, center Garrett Bradbury, Jimmy's favorite player. If they do not find a trade partner for him soon, I would think. But yeah, Garrett Bradbury not in the future plans for the Minnesota Vikings going forward. All right, let's get to contracts here, re-signings. The Saints, they re-signed corner Isaac Yiadom to a 3-year, $9 million deal, $10.5 million max value, $4.86 million guaranteed there. Solid player that they found after Broncos. It was a 3rd-round pick, I believe, a couple years ago, 2020 with Denver. Commanders, they re-signed quarterback Marcus Mariota, 1-year, $8 million deal. Mariota had options to go elsewhere, but loves Washington, came back eventually. Chargers, they re-signed quarterback Taylor Heineke to 1-year, $6.2 million. Falcons re-signing wide receiver and special teams player Kadero Hodge, 2 years, $6 million. Lions re-signing defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike, 1 year, $5.5 million. Commanders re-signed wide receiver Noah Brown, 1 year, $4.5 million. The recipient of the Hail Mary this year for Noah Brown. All right, we'll take a pause in the re-signings. Go back to the Vikings ones, Jimmy here. Thoughts on Ed Ingram trade?
I'm blown away that we got anything for that bum. He sucks. CJ Stroud, I'm really sorry. You're probably gonna die.
Well,
what was that?
Like I said, I think he's going to compete potentially to Scruggs or Laken Tomlinson inside there at the guard spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. I don't. If you have him starting next year, I think you're in trouble.
And the Garrett Bradbury going to be released if they can't find someone to trade for him.
Oh yeah, I saw that as well. I heard the Patriots were kind of interested, given that they just released what's his name, Andrews. I mean, I would take a 6th or a 7th for Garrett Bradbury. That'd be totally cool for that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, continuing here with the re-signings. You didn't have anything on the first couple guys there?
No, nothing really surprised me.
United, Mariota, Heineke, Hodge, Onwuzurike, Brown.
Nothing surprising there. I think all those guys like where they played and the team likes them.
The Chargers, they re-signed linebacker Denzel Perriman, 1 year, $3.65 million. Bucks re-signing former second round pick quarterback Kyle Trask, 1 year, $2.787 million. Jets re-signed running back Kenny Nwangwu, 1 year, $2.5 million. Chiefs re-signing running back Kareem Hunt, 1 year, $1.5 million. I was like, damn, bro, like, Kenny Nwangu is getting more money than Kareem Hunt this year.
Return specialist Kenny Nwangu.
That's just hilarious, bro. That is something that's funny as hell. I can't.
Hey,
all right, other guys that we don't have numbers for. 1 year deals here. Bills safety DeMar Hamlin, Lions running back Craig Reynolds, Commanders wide receiver KJ Osborne, Steelers wide receiver Scotty Miller, Dolphins guard Liam Eichenberg, Chiefs quarterback Bailey Zappi, Bucks wide receiver Sterling Shepard, and then guys that I assume are 1 year deals, but that did not say anything. Chargers wide receiver Jalen Reagor, Cardinals edge rusher LJ Collier, Commanders corner Noah Igbenogany, and Lions wide receiver Tim Patrick all re-signed to their teams. All right, let's get to the more fun stuff, the bigger numbers in free agency. The Seahawks making a couple splashes here just a little bit ago, like probably half an hour ago. The Seahawks have kept Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp in division. 3 years, $45 million deal for Coop to come back to Washington, where he grew up and went to Eastern Washington and college. And he will now pair with Jackson Smith and Jigba as Sam Darnold's top 2 wide receivers there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wanted them in Minnesota, but I didn't want them at that price tag, at least that term. But yeah, I give Jigba a guy to work off of, give Darnold a really reliable target. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see 2021 Cooper Kupp ever again, but normal Cooper Kupp is extremely, extremely reliable. So it makes a lot of sense to bring in a super reliable target for a new QB in the system.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, kind of, though. I feel like JSN likes to work in the slot, and that's like Coop's wheelhouse. So I think what you're going to see a lot is if they're running 3 wide sets, Coop's going to be in the slot, and they're going to have JSN and Jake Bobo on the outside. That's their depth chart right now until they get any other receivers.
Yeah.
Field Yates loves his Jake Bobo, man.
Yeah, he sure does.
Oh no, actually I forgot. They signed another guy. We'll get to in a second. My bad. They do have another guy that will more than likely start because of his experience. But I mentioned the Seahawks made a pair of splashes. They also signed Cowboys defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. 3 years, $42 million, $18 million guaranteed there for Lawrence going to Seattle. And yeah, Mike McDonald gets a coveted pass rusher that they kind of needed. I mean, I kind of like their pass rush group. It's very odd that Leonard Williams is a D end. Or actually, never mind. I got to look at the. Never mind. I got to look at the outside linebackers. I forgot they run 3-4. But yeah, I mean, regardless, their pass rush group is decent. You know, DeMarcus Lawrence. That's an interesting one. Has played in 4-down defense most of his career in Dallas. I can't see him as a stand-up. I don't know. Maybe he follows after another DeMarcus from Dallas that did it. DeMarcus Ware went to Denver and stood up in a 3-4 outside and was very good with the Broncos. Granted, that was under one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history in Wade Phillips. So. Your Vikings. We mentioned this last show, but we got the numbers on it finally. So we put it on today's show as well. Vikings signing 49ers defense tackle Javon Hargrave. 2 years, $30 million, $19 million guaranteed there for Hargrave. Pretty solid contract. Needs some beef up front.
Yeah, I think it's very good value, especially with also bringing in, Allen as well. Having a big three at the interior D line of Allen, Phillips, and now Hargrave. I think this is went from a team weakness to now it could be a strength if all the guys the Vikings sign continue to provide at the level that we've seen. Looking something up?
No. Anyways, the Cards getting a big man up front as well. They signed Browns defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, 2 years, $29 million. He gets $16 million guaranteed there to go all the way out to the desert. Solid signing. I think it's been wild, the amount of defensive tackles that we've seen flood the market this year and trade places. But yeah, they kind of need a guy, some guys, but they have Bilal Nichols on the roster there at nose tackle, and they're 3-4 with Jonathan Gannon as head coach there. But yeah, Dalvin Tomlinson, definitely a big body up front. Like it. The Broncos, they signed Jags tight end Evan Ingram, 2 years, $23 million deal. He gets $16.5 million fully guaranteed there for Sean Payton's what's it called? Joker, right? Joker. So they call it in Peyton's offense. Yeah, I mean they're gonna be good. Bo Nix is gonna love having Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
The Browns, they got their Dalvin Tomlinson replacement, and it's kind of almost a triangle between the 49ers, Browns, and Cardinals. Almost. The Browns signed 49ers defense tackle Malik Collins to a 2-year, $20 million deal. $13 million fully guaranteed there. Yeah, former 3rd round pick, I believe, of the Texans. I'm probably wrong, but anyways. Makes sense for Cleveland, obviously. They release Dalvin Tomlinson and get a younger guy, Malik Collins, for less money, I believe. I believe he's younger. Pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers. The Steelers made a bunch of moves this week, and none of them, other than the DK trade, were that big. But they did make a bunch of moves. First one was they signed Eagles corner Darius Slay Jr. 1 year, $10 million fully guaranteed contract there. I like it. I mean, I know he's older and definitely you can see he's lost a step, but it's another guy to mentor Joey Porter Jr. in that room. And Slay, I think, still has some left, but he's just not that elite shutdown corner. He doesn't have the speed as much as he used to. I like it though. It's a decent play.
Yeah, he brings intangibles. And with the Steelers' defensive backfield group, I don't think you're going to expect too much out of him in terms of just, play a game, game-to-game basis. I mean, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., I think are guys in the backfield that will probably take more responsibility than Slay. But yeah, I think Slay's a very good stopgap, a guy that you can sign for a year and then draft a corner in like the 4th, 3rd through 6th round, and have that guy just kind of play behind Slay for a year and then let them get ready to go next year.
Yeah, because he's gonna be a starter. They
Mhm.
released Dante Jackson. So they didn't have anyone else of a starting caliber. So he's gonna have to play, and he's gonna get most of the work because people don't want to throw at JPJ. So especially if he figures out his penalty issue that he had last year.
Mhm.
The Titans, they signed Seahawks defense tackle Draymond Jones, 1 year, $10 million. Sure. Again, I have no clue what the Titans are doing. There's no, I can't see it. I cannot see the vision. There's no roadmap on what the Titans are building. They're building something. No one has a clue what it is, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like throw crap at the wall, hope it sticks kind of feeling. Um, and I think they want to have a full roster, but I think they're just afraid of signing big contracts. I think they're um a little hesitant after the Jarius Sneed contract. The Jarius had a season last year. I mean, the whole Titans team was bad, so but I think I think they're just afraid to play essentially.
Yeah, and it's wild because it's back to back GMs. It's like I know like Mike Borgonzi's only been on the job for a few months, but like we saw the same thing with Rand Carthon last year, and now it's like Borgonzi's in a couple of months in his first free agency, and it's still the same thing. So
Mhm.
the Titans also signed Lions guard Kevin Zeitler, 1 year, $9 million deal. Zeitler family in Nashville apparently, so that's why he really wanted to come home.
Mhm.
Uh, but again, it's just I get it. If you're gonna be young, you have to sign veterans, some veterans, to be able to be placeholders for one, but also to keep the team together and be locker room guys. And I think Zeitler is definitely one of those.
Mhm. Yeah, I like Zeitler. I think this is a pretty okay signing. Um, I don't have much to complain about here.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely on his last leg though. Going to start. They have him listed at right guard. So still trying to fix the offensive line. We'll see. Falcons, they signed Chargers defensive end Morgan Fox, 2 years, $8.5 million. Solid. Veteran guy. The Bills, I mentioned, signed Steelers defense tackle Larry Ogunjobi, suspended 6 games for PEDs with his new teammate from coming over from the Rams, Michael Hoyt. 1 year, 8.3 million. 10 million max, 8 million guaranteed for Ogunjobi there. So essentially almost fully guaranteed. But yeah, he was a guy I was kind of mad the Steelers released. I really liked him. Solid rotational player inside. But yeah, the Bills are getting solid one once he comes back on the field week 7 or week 8, whenever, if the Bills have a bye before. I don't know. You never know. We don't know the schedule yet. Steelers, they signed Titans quarterback Mason Rudolph, 2 years, $8 million, $4.5 million max. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, back in Pittsburgh. Love to see that. I love him. And I hated when he played in Tennessee this year because they had a chance to win anytime he played, and I was like, just give Will Levis the ball. He just but yeah, man, Rudolph, great spot starter. Again, like I said, the Titans were a lot more competitive when he was at the helm, and I was there for his last start, I believe it was, as a Steeler, when they beat the Bengals a couple years ago in Pittsburgh. So that was fun. Right around Christmas. Cowboys, they signed Commanders defensive end Dante Fowler Jr., 1 year, $8 million, back in Dallas, where he spent the 2022-23 seasons. 1 year with his defensive coordinator in Dallas, Dan Quinn, in Washington, as the head coach there, and now back to Dallas. Dallas definitely needed it. They needed pass rush help for sure. And that side of the ball, they spent a bunch of resources this offseason. They got Fowler to go with Micah Parsons on the outside there. They got Solomon Thomas for depth. They got Peyton Turner for depth. They got Jack Sanborn, Kenneth Murray, like I said, linebacker Kyer Elam at corner depth as well. So mostly defensive additions for the Cowboys, except for a couple guys on offense that we'll talk about in a second. The 49ers signed Brock Purdy's new backup, Jags quarterback Mac Jones, 2 years, $7 million, $11.5 million max, $5 million guaranteed for Mac Jones. Still kicking around out there. Played, I thought, pretty well in Jacksonville this past year. Now he gets a chance to get coached up by Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I remember the 21 draft?
Yeah.
I remember 49ers had the third pick, and everyone was like, is it Mac Jones or Trey Lance? But they ended up with Mac Jones 5 years later.
Yep. The Panthers, they signed Cowboys running back Rico Dowdle to a 1 year, $6.25 million deal. I don't like this one. I love Rico. He had a great season. He was fantastic for one or two of my fantasy teams. But I don't like it, man. Like, I understand. I understand. Panthers, you had to do it. You had to get someone not only to fill out the backfield, but to be the number 2 behind Chuba Hubbard.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate it because, it's not, Jonathan Brooks got injured again, obviously, but and we don't know when he's going to be back. But that's why I hate it, because I'm like, when we do see him back, like he's not going to have any chance as a second-round pick last year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't hate it. I think maybe they just want Brooks to take as long as he needs to recover, especially after 2 knee injuries. You start to get the concern that it might be a consistent thing, and his timeline for recovery may be longer out of necessity, and you just need someone like Rico Dowdle to step in for the season. I don't think this puts Brooks on the short end of the stick as much as you do. I think this is just telling him, like, hey, this is your second significant knee injury in basically 2 years. We want you to take a longer recovery timeline out of concern of your knee. Because, again, if you have 2 significant knee injuries in a short time, there's cause for concern.
Yeah, for sure. The Seahawks. This one I mentioned earlier. They signed Saints wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling. 1 year, $5.5 million. So he will be the third guy to go along with Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. 2 hyphens and a cup.
2 hyphs, 1 cup. What a combo.
Yeah. There's people of a certain age will know what that means.
Yeah. If you had access to the internet around 2006, you know what I'm talking about. And you are still traumatized.
Could have been a sandbox.
Well, all right, football. Let's get back to football. Huh?
The Commanders, they signed Patriots defensive end Dietrich Wise Jr. 1 year, $5 million. Entire career with New England, and now he is branching out to a different area of the country, a little bit south. Just
a little.
Just take a tiny little hour flight or whatever. I don't know how long it is. I've never been to Boston, so it's... Patriots, though, they signed Raiders defensive end Kayvon Chason 1 year, $5 million. So they said, Dietrich, we don't want you. We want Chase on instead for the same amount of money. But former first round pick, right? That's and he's younger than Dietrich Wise too.
Every time someone says a former first round pick, it's like my favorite tweet. It's a Viking fans tweet, and everyone uses it. It's a tweet that just simply says, whenever you see a player referred to as former first round pick, just know he is turbo dog shit. And every time I see that tweet, it makes me laugh so much.
Oh my goodness. The Jets, they signed Packers center Josh Myers, 1 year, $3.5 million. I love that signing for the Jets. I think that's an excellent bargain to get a guy that can play all three positions inside. I wasn't that surprised that the Packers let him go, but because of what they did in free agency. But I mean, the inside is pretty solid for the Jets. It's the outside they've had an issue with it. But John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, and now they get Josh Myers. They also have an undrafted guy from 2 years ago, Xavier Newman, or an undrafted guy from 3 years ago, I should say. That was originally with the Titans, but Xavier Newman as well there. The Chargers signed Dolphins defense tackle Deshaun Hand, 1 year, $3.35 million. Commanders signing Bears defensive end Jacob Martin, 1 year, $3 million. That's Jimmy's favorite guy to talk about. The allure of Jacob Martin.
Nothing better.
He's only been traded a couple times.
Only a few times. Not enough, in my opinion.
The Raiders have a new running back, signing Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert, 1 year, $2.1 million. And yeah, I mean, that's the Raiders. Pete Carroll, man, they want to run the ball, and they're going to go right now, anyways, until we had the draft with the 32-year-old as a starter.
Good luck.
They're gonna pound the rock there in Vegas, and he's actually turning 33 next month, by the way. The Eagles, they signed Raiders tight end Harrison Bryant, 1 year, $2 million. I like it. Eagles doing some work on some tight ends, getting the room filled out behind Dallas Goedert. Steelers signed Eagles running back Kenneth Gainwell to a 1 year deal. All these next guys are 1 year deals because they don't have any financials on them. So Steelers getting Eagles running back Kenneth Gainwell. Commanders signed Falcons defensive tackle Eddie Goldman. Panthers signed Rams linebacker Christian Roseboom. Love that. Colts signed Bears running back Khalil Herbert. Commanders signed Patriots corner Jonathan Jones. Bucks signed Lions corner Kendall Vildor. Dolphins signed Bucks linebacker KJ Britt. Bucks signed Dolphins linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. Eagles signing Chiefs edge rusher Josh Uche. Love that. Fell out the pass rush room. Titans signed 49ers quarterback Brandon Allen. Chargers signed Cardinals defense tackle Naquan Jones. Jets signing Chargers tight end Stone Smart. Chiefs signed Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew. So looks like the Chiefs have a new backup for Patrick Mahomes. Cowboys signed Panthers running back Miles Sanders. Eagles signed Giants corner Adoree Jackson. Chiefs signed Vikings defensive end Jerry Tillery. Eagles signed Colts tight end Kylan Granson. And then the rest of these guys, I don't have numbers or years, but assuming it's all 1 year deals. Steelers signed Jets corner Brandon Eccles. Going to be the starting nickel right now. Chargers signed Commanders corner Benjamin St. Juste. Eagles signed Packers running back A.J. Dillon. I like that, kind of. We'll see.
The best guys in the league.
They needed a third guy. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted one still. I thought they were going to re-sign Kenny Gainwell to keep him with Saquon and Will Shipley, but I think they really want Will Shipley to potentially take the 2 spot. And I think you'll see an open competition between him and AJ Dillon for that RB2 spot. Even though they're completely different players. The Jets signed Patriots off tackle Chukwuma Okorafor. Chargers signed Steelers wide receiver Mike Williams, so he is back in LA where he started his career most. Bills signed Chargers wide receiver Laviska Shenault Jr. Lions signed Steelers quarterback Kyle Allen. Vikings signed Packers linebacker Eric Wilson, where he started his career.
Reunion.
Great year with Green Bay last year.
He did. He's a very good special teams player.
And then the Eagles, they got some special teams help themselves. They signed Falcons corner and returner Avery Williams. All right, visits. So it's that time of free agency where we're getting visits because we're not getting enough signings. Anyways, or guys aren't getting signed. They're taking their time to visit. The Browns and the Giants both hosted or the Giants haven't yet, I don't think. Or they are right now. I don't know. I know the Browns already did.
Yeah. Today is Giants hosting Russ.
Okay. So they hosted Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson. Apparently he is still in play in Pittsburgh, potentially. Who knows? The Steelers, they hosted 49ers fullback Kyle Juszczyk. I would love that. Give him to me.
I think that's a great fit. I think Steelers and Mike Tomlin have always loved using the fullback. I think that makes a ton of sense.
The Giants, they hosted Colts quarterback Joe Flacco. How about that? Russell Wilson and Joe Flacco hosted by the Giants. The Cardinals, they hosted Chargers corner Asante Samuel Jr. That's one that has surprised me. I thought Asante Samuel would get some decent money on the open market, but not so. He has not been signed yet.
I remember when he went on the market, I was like, the Vikings should get an eye on this kid. I like him.
Yeah. Market apparently not there for him.
I guess
the Vikings, they hosted Falcons wide receiver Rondale Moore coming off the year-long injury. Didn't play really at all. And see if he's healthy or not.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him.
And final one here, the Seahawks hosted Bears guard Tevin Jenkins. Seahawks still looking for some more help up front, potentially. And yeah, not seeing anything else on the X feed. So we're finally on to the Packers Vikings mock draft. Jimmy's got his Vikings hat on. I got my Packers hat. Not a Packers fan, but I went to a game, so I had to get something, and I like the hat. So Packers 23, 54, 87, all three of their own picks in the 3 rounds. And the Vikings 24th in the first, compensatory number 97 in the 3rd round. Where did their second and thirds go?
I think they might have been part of the Dallas Turner trade, either Dallas Turner or Hawkinson trade. I can't remember exactly.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to the mock sim here. Packers Vikings, 3 rounds. We're gonna have a weird one. We'll see. Cam Ward, number 1 of the Titans. Will Campbell to the Browns. All right. Armand Membu for the Giants.
I've seen Membu fly up draft boards.
Abdul Carter for the Patriots. Travis Hunter for the Jags. We're getting all thrown out here. Will Johnson to the Raiders. Sure. Sanders for the Jets. Tyler Warren to the Panthers. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Mason Graham to the Saints. Tetro McMillan for the Bears.
No.
What are we doing? Shamar Stewart for the 49ers. Ashton Genty to the Cowboys. That one makes sense, finally. Nicky Manwari for the Dolphins. Michael Williams. Cards coming up with the Bengals. The Colts 1678 going to them. Jalen Walker for the Falcons, keeping Georgia boy in Georgia. Derek Harmon to the Colts. James Pierce to the Bengals. Malachi Starks for the Seahawks. Bucks Texans coming up 25-58 to get Tyler Booker. Matthew Golden for the Broncos. Shamon Revel for the Steelers. Chargers going Jahdae Barron. And we are on the clock with the Packers. Oh, Rams. 3 spots for a third.
That's great value.
Juicy. Could be juicy. Let me see here. Again, I haven't updated my draft needs yet. But what I have for Green Bay, edge, interior O-line, corner, tackle, offensive tackle, and linebacker depth. So, edge, why do we need edge? Because I just don't like the guys. I mean, you have Gary, you have Van Ness. Cool. Kingsley Enagbare has really been a good find for them. A 5th rounder in 22. Brenton Cox is okay. I just don't think we've seen enough of Van Ness so far. 2 years in. Maybe he breaks out in year 3. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I like adding to that group there. Interior O-line, it's fine now because they signed Aaron Banks. Could potentially still use some depth there. But I kind of like what they're at now for interior. Corner, they definitely need it still. They're trying to trade Jair Alexander, so they're gonna need someone. Plus, I hate I do not like the depth that they really have at corner. I'm not a fan of a lot of those guys. And tackle, I don't know. I know my boy Rasheed Walker, Penn State boy. I think they could get better potentially, but who knows? We have an excellent player on the board, though. If we want to go, Kelvin Banks. I mean,
yeah, I think he'd be the best pure value here. I mean, I think this guy's top 15, maybe top 10 in the draft this year. If he were to fall all the way to 23, you'd almost just want to take it just to get the value. But also, Nick Scouton, I think that's how you say his name, the edge from Texas A&M. I think Gordon. I think he's a beast. I think he makes a ton of sense for Green Bay. Probably more so than Kelvin Banks in terms of just need. I like, as much as I like the trade, I would be hesitant to think the Packers would, considering who would be lost in those 3 picks, especially Kelvin Banks and Scorton. I don't think either 3 of those guys will be left.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm big on accumulating in draft picks, especially premium picks, when you could get a 2nd, 3rd rounder. I don't think it would be a bad play because even if those 2 guys do go, right? I think you're still okay with Josh Simmons, or taking one of the wide receivers. I know people are like, why would the Packers take wide receivers? Because they have a million wide receiver 2 and 3s. They don't have a dude.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying Egbuka or Burden are those guys because there's not really a ton of wide receiver 1s in this wide receiver class.
Yeah.
But
as much as I like that explanation, I've seen a lot of Egbuka. I've seen Burden a lot. Kind of what you were saying. I don't think they are wide receiver 1s. I think they stick and pick. I think value makes a ton of sense with Bank Juniors, and Scorton from Texas A&M makes a ton of sense for need, and he's really good. I would hate to see them, see him on the Packers and face him 2 times a year.
Yeah, let's just go BPA then.
Yeah, Banks makes a ton of sense.
Unless the Rams want to give us a 1st rounder next year.
Maybe.
That's a little too far back for the Vikes, right?
Maybe a little. Yeah.
But they do. They don't have a 2nd rounder. They could get an extra 3rd rounder in this trade.
Yeah. Let's see what other picks are being sent our way. No, also too far.
2nd next year and a 2nd this year and a 3rd. And the Texans want to get the house up for moving up from 3rd round.
Yeah, that's The only
All right.
problem is I don't love who's available for Minnesota. I like Tyreek Williams. I like Kenneth Grant. I think those would be great. I think I would love it if you were Minnesota, if a team at like 32 to 33 was asking to move up. The only problem is a team in 33 and 34 are not asking to move up.
Well, you want to know what I have as the needs for your Vikings?
Go for it. I have my own personal needs, but I can also share based on what you say.
Again, these are not updated for free agency, but corner number one need. Uh, especially they re-signed Byron Murphy, right? But
Mhm.
Mekhi Blackman and Isaiah Rodgers are your other starters right now. Not a
Yeah,
fan.
not a huge fan.
And they have almost no depth as well.
Yeah,
So
that's why if
corner,
like guys like Barron and Ravel were available, I would stick and pick either of those guys, but they were just drafted.
yeah. Interior D line isn't as big of a need anymore with Allen and Hargrave. I still am not a big fan of the depth, but I think they're guys that can play.
Yeah, I think you could get D line later in the draft with the guys that they got.
Running back also not as big of an issue with Aaron Jones back in the fold. Interior O line again, they filled that Kelly and Fries.
Mm-hmm.
They probably will want to draft someone though later. There's not a lot of depth that I'm confident in, especially if when they release Bradbury.
Yeah, and I think too. I think the Vikings, even with getting Fries and Kelly, I think they're still probably looking at left guard. I like Brundell, but I don't think he's great. I think if you can get an upgrade at left guard, that would be really, really good. I know 4 of the 5 guys in the offensive line for the Vikings are great. I mean, Darisaw and O'Neal on the tackles, Kelly and Fries and center and right guard. But left guard, if you can get a guy long term there, I think guard is still probably a target. And also, I think this is probably not a first round need, but I have this as a need in terms of depth and future. Safety will probably be a need. Harrison Smith did resign, but with each passing year, it becomes less and less likely he's going to remain. This may be his last season. So I could see safety being in need as well for Minnesota. So I agree mostly. I think in terms of how I'd rate it for Minnesota, I'd go cornerback, left guard, running back 2, safety, and then wide receiver 3. But with free agency, there's a ton of wide receiver 3s still out there.
My last need I had for the Vikings was QB2. Only JJ McCarthy and Brett Rippon on the roster right now.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're probably still looking for depth in the free agency. There's still a ton of quarterbacks. Can you show me who has pick 33? Let's see if the Browns are interested in doing business. I have an idea.
No, they're not.
You're not?
They're not.
You don't think they would be?
Why don't we just take one of the trades? I like the first one.
I like the first one, but let's see if we can get even better value. Let's do 24 for 33, and let's see if we can get 67. And then offer a Minnesota third next year. Because I like that. I think moving up and getting an early third would be great.
Negatory.
All right, I'm not going to waste too much time on mock trades. So let's just take the first one. I think also getting what looks like an early third is great. I don't like the other 2 picks. I think there's guys at 36 that will also be valuable from Minnesota.
One I don't think is bad either.
I don't think it's
the Jets aren't going to be a good team next year, or at least I don't think with a presumed rookie quarterback or whoever they signed. No, Justin Fields. I mean, sucks.
I don't disagree, but I just like the idea of staying in the top 40 this year and giving up just a 7th to get a very early third and very early second for a first round pick that you and I are both agreeing are kind of, I don't quite know. I don't want to reach. I would take this trade right now.
Jags coming up for Josh Simmons.
That makes sense.
Rams coming up for Jahad Campbell, 26, 127. So Texans moving back twice. Nick Scorton to the Bucks, Gray Zabel for the Ravens, and Mick Buka for the Lions, Colson Loveland to the Commanders, Luther Burden to the Bills, Tyreek Williams for the Chiefs. Eagles going Donovan Ezrawaku, love it. Jalen Milroe over the Browns, Caleb Johnson to the Giants, Titans going never mind.
Wow.
Jets going up for Kenneth Grant. Hold on, 49ers. 42 and 110 for the Jets coming up for Mr. Grant there. So do have another couple offers on the table. 7 picks back to get a second next year from San Fran. Trade a fourth, I believe, 139. This one's trading 97. Move up a little bit, but you're moving pretty far back in the second round here. And you also pick up a Denver second. But I think the Broncos are going to be a decent team next year. So,
I have 2 guys right here. I like O'Marion Hampton. I also really like Ben Morris. I think both those guys fit a ton of needs. Personally, I would probably go corner because I think with that 70 pick, Vikings could get a really good running back still, and at running back too. I like Morris here. If Zabel was still available, I would have put Zabel here and put him at left guard. But with him being taken, I'd probably do Morris. I think he's a really solid cornerback. If Caleb Johnson was available, I'd probably swing him as well. But since he's not, but yeah, I like Ben Morris here. I think he makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I love Benjamin Morrison. He's fantastic. Unfortunately, had the hip injury at Notre Dame. Hasn't done much pre-draft on the field, but should be good to go for training camp, I believe.
Yeah. If it falls in the lap, I'm taking him.
Xavier Watts going to the Raiders. Patriots going Walter Nolan.
That makes sense.
Bears getting Ariante Ursery. Saints going Isaiah Bond. That's excellent.
That's a good pickup.
Harold Fannin for the Bears. Trey Harris for the Titans. All right. Niners going Azariah Thomas. I love that. Mike Green, Lions coming up. 60 and a second next year for Mike Green to the Dallas Cowboys. Tate Ratledge, go Dogs to the Colts. Filling Will Fry's spot. Braden Swinson to the Falcons. Dolphins coming up for Donovan Jackson. 1 pick, 48 and 155. Jaden Higgins goes to the Cardinals in that trade. Wyatt Millum for the Bengals. Cameron Williams for the Seahawks. O'Marion Hampton to the Broncos. Trey Amos for the Seahawks. Maxwell Hairston to the Bucks. And we're back on with the Packers here. I do not like that. Sorry, Jets.
Yeah, they still want to get rid of that 2026 second. But yeah.
So Green Bay, we got Kelvin Banks going BPA in the first round there. And
Landon Jackson.
Huh?
Landon Jackson right here. Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
I like that a ton.
Yeah.
Not much else to say there. Honestly, like you mentioned linebacker. I like Schlesinger out of UCLA, but I think Landon Jackson's a top 45 talent. I've seen him drop for reasons I don't really disagree with. I think he's borderline first round talent, and I think getting him at 54 would be huge for Green Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with him or JT Tuimoloau, but yeah.
I like Tuimoloau, but Jackson I like a ton.
Chargers going Mason Taylor.
Okay.
Bills get Princely Umanmielen. Panthers going Emory Jones. Jackson Dart for the Giants.
They traded up to do it.
Josh Connerly. No, that was the trade back.
Oh.
Yeah, Josh Connerly to the Ravens. Cowboys coming, or that's trade back. Marcus Embo. JC Tuimoloau to the Commanders. Holland Pierce to the Bills. Darian Porter for the Chiefs. Eagles going Denzel Burke. Love it.
Denzel Burnt Toast, as I like to call him.
Eric Carter to the Bucks. Quinshon Judkins for the Chiefs. Deion Walker. Jags coming up 88 and 107 for the Browns. Tez Johnson to the Raiders, and Jonas Avainea to the Patriots. And we're back on with the Vikings. That one's interesting. 7 spots. Pick up a 5th round pick. I think that's 5th round.
Yeah, I don't hate it. But we already traded back once. I think at this point you don't really need to. And there's a guy here that I see on the board. I like him a lot as running back too. Travion Henderson. I like a ton. I mean, sure, I'm a little bit of a homer pick because of Ohio State, but I like Travion. I think he works really well in a 2-man unit. I can never say his name, but the safety from Texas, Mukuba, is that how you say it? Mukuba?
Hinder Makuba, yeah.
Mukuba, yeah. I like him. He wouldn't be a bad safety pick here, but I think after Travion, the running back talent takes a little bit of a dip. I like DJ Giddens, but I would rather have Henderson. Maybe you disagree, but Aaron Jones is only on a 2-year deal. I think I don't like Ty Chandler as my running back too. I think Travion has shown great value in all aspects of the running back game. He's really good with the ball. He's really good out in space, catching screen passes, which KOC loves. A good screen pass, and Travion did that a lot in Ohio State. I think it makes a ton of sense. Running back 2 is a need. I don't like Ty Chandler as running back 2. Aaron Jones is past the age of 30, so running backs past 30, they usually dip in production. I like Travion here.
Yeah, I like it too. If they wouldn't have just signed Eric Wilson, I would make a case for Carson Schlesinger.
Oh yeah, that would be a huge value. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree, but linebacker is a little bit down my board. I like Ivan Pace a lot. The team does too. I think they see him more as a long-term guy than many people realize.
All right. Saints going Jared Ivey. TJ Sanders, Dolphins coming up 98, 116, 150 for the Dolphins. Jalen Noel for the Jets. Kyle Kennard for the Panthers. Love it. Chris Paul for the 49ers. Jalen Royals for the Cowboys. Patriots going Xavier Restrepo. That's excellent. Colts getting Quinn Ewers. No. Another Texas quarterback to the Colts. Elikeo Manor for the Texans. Gunnar Helm for the Colts. Andrew Makuba for the Bengals. Seahawks going, Steelers coming up 1 pick with the Seahawks to get Alfred Collins, 83 and 185. Torrey Horton for the Seahawks. Kevin Winston for the Bucks. Jordan Birch for the Broncos. Chargers going Kyron Lacey. Yeah.
How is he still on the board?
I mean, I want to, but Packers don't need it. They don't.
That's fair.
They have excellent linebackers and linebacker depth. Sorry, Panthers.
That's not great.
That's a 4, 2 4s.
Yeah, it's not awful. It's not great.
That's one of the last picks in the 3rd and a 4. But I want to do it so badly, but we don't need him. Like, the Packers have good linebackers. Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, who they re-signed, and Tyron Hopper. Like, that foursome at linebacker, that's solid.
Yeah, that's really solid. I agree. And as much as I do love value picks, Packers already did one with Kelvin Banks here. I don't think you always just want to do the value pick for the sake of doing the value pick. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe
where I'm going now, I don't know if he plays other position. Jared Wilson out of Georgia, it would be an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a guy I usually pick with the Vikings 97 pick when he's available. That's a guy I like for depth.
They don't really need it either, even though they did let Josh Myers go in free agency. The top 2 guys, the 2 guys that are gonna be the backups inside this year, Jacob Monk, they drafted in the 5th round out of Duke last year. And then I'm not sure who's going to start at right guard. They have Sean Ryan actually as a starter right now with Jordan Morgan as the backup. But regardless, one of those 2 guys is going to be the main guard backup for both guard spots. So I don't really think they need interior. It sucks. Like, where are the corners, man? Like Dorian Strong.
And
Do we want to roll the dice? Do we want to roll the dice and take the 49ers?
No, I hate rolling the dice. Especially like, what other corner after this guy is there? Maybe it is a reach in terms of value, but it's Dorian Strong and then Zy Alexander. It's a bit of a dip. I like Zy, but when you have a need and there's one guy that really stands out, are you gonna cross your fingers and hope he's still there 13 picks later? I don't like that idea. I think we did a great value pick in Banks. I think, and Lamar Landon Jackson. I think Landon Jackson's going to be awesome. I think in terms of need and value, those first two picks are great. I don't think you have to worry about reaching at this point when you hit, in my opinion, on two really good picks. Dorian Strong is good. He's prototypical third round corner, but he's good. I think he makes a ton of sense for Green Bay. Is it a reach on paper? Sure, I'll agree, but you can't just bank on trading back and having an even worse corner available.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense. All right. Will Howard it is.
Need Jordan Love competition.
Browns going DJ Giddens. Texans a Johnny Cornelius. Rams going Jack Sawyer. Lathan Ransom. That's
the guy I was looking for the
Vikings. Screams Ravens. Carson Schwetzinger finally off the board of the Seahawks. Dylan Fairchild for the
Jared
Wilson to the Browns. Back Georgia Bulldogs, go Dogs. Anthony Belton to the Chiefs. CJ West to the Eagles, love it. That's putting us into the fourth round, picking up a 4 for a 6 next year. 3 picks back for a 5th rounder, and the Eagles 6th round. So we got, who do we got? Ben Morrison, Travion Henderson, and what are we looking at here?
You know what? I'm gonna say it. I don't hate the 49ers trade. I think at this point in the draft, Vikings came into this draft with like 3 draft picks. I think they're looking to add more picks. There's no one here that I'm like blown away by. I like Norman Lott, but again, you don't need defensive tackles with the offseason they've had. I like Shamar Turner as well. I know you like Beck. He could be a pretty good wide receiver 3. But with the Rondell Moore, looks like it's going to be a signing. Maybe you can get a wide receiver there, and maybe it's still available at 100. Who knows? Is there any other wide receiver kind of close nearby here that you are interested in?
I was looking at Arroyo as well.
I like Arroyo. I think the Vikings could use it. Yeah, with what's his name leaving? Nick Muse, I believe.
Who?
Vikings lost a tight end. It wasn't Nick Muse, was it?
Was it
Munt? Yeah, Munt left. So maybe a tight end. I'm kind of looking to get some draft picks. I think moving 3 spots isn't bad in the 3rd round with the 49ers, especially with the 2 teams behind the Vikings here. I don't hate the trade back, and getting an extra 4th this year would be great. Am I cutting in and out? Not bad. I'm having some connection issues, so hopefully when this gets to StreamYard, maybe I'm doing better. But for anything I missed, I would say I take the trade. I don't hate moving back 3 spots.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
49ers come up for Josh Farmer. Billy Bowman to the Bears.
That's the guy I wanted.
Oh, bro.
They got back.
Jack Beck. Freaking best to the Giants.
I know it. I should have known. But Elijah Arroyo's still there.
Yeah, I like Arroyo.
I like Arroyo.
He's a very good dude as well.
Yeah.
Met him at the Senior Bowl, and really solid character guy.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think Norman Lott wouldn't be a bad value pick, although defensive tackle depth isn't too much of a big deal. This draft, like free agency, has a ton of defensive tackles. Vikings could easily get one in the fourth round. I like Arroyo here. I would go Arroyo. Maybe get a D tackle in the 4th round. But yeah, I think first 3 rounds of Morrison, Henderson, Arroyo, I think it's a huge get.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jimmy, the Marquette parade has gone down significantly.
Oh no, have they
We're
been
down
poorly?
8. We're down 8 right now with 6:40 to go.
It ain't over, but they need a
We
game like they had against
were
Seattle.
down 10. So
They need a game like they had against Seattle.
Alexander, the Rams, Darius Alexander to the Lions. Pair of Alexanders going out there at the end. All right, what do we get here? Kelvin Banks for the Packers, best player available in the 1st round. Landon Jackson in the 2nd. Dorian Strong in the 3rd. Vikings, we started out with 2 picks. We got 3. Couple trades. Benjamin Morrison in the 2nd round, I should say. Travion Henderson in the 3rd at the 70th, and Elijah Arroyo at the 100th pick.
And don't forget, in that extra 4th as well.
Oh, okay. I have to log in to get these statistics. I don't have. Why did they tell me it was new? It's not what for me. So whatever. Anyways, yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like the Vikings a little bit more than the Packers one, but
me too. A little bit of a homer, but me too.
All right, next week. We got off season week 6. We're not calling it free agency anymore because most of the free agents, top free agents, are gone now. So Bucks Broncos mock draft. Of course, keep you informed on all the NFL news as well. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast on there. We will see y'all back on Monday evening, where we got the Steelers and the Chargers mock draft.